All right. Welcome back to Rarefied Air. I'm Maxwell,
I'm Andrew.
and today we're going to be doing a Marvel Snap tier list or a continuation of our Marvel Snap tier list. But it's not a normal tier list. What is it, Andrew?
Yes, it is, in fact, not a normal tier list. A normal tier list for most card games would, have the cards ranked on how good they are, whether or not you should put them in your deck. Our tier list is not interested in things like that. It's more interested in how well the cards represent the characters, or sometimes objects, they are based upon in Marvel Comics. Do they get their powers across, their temperament, their personality? That is what we are most interested in.
Yeah, and we're also going to do some comparison to the MCU. That will be relevant, actually, in today's episode because we're going to be doing a little bit of a shakeup if you've been following our series. Where we've been catching up because of our inconsistent recording schedule. But we're gonna try something a little bit different. We're gonna do I guess at this point last month's cards, but we're gonna hit up the new cards and then continue to work on our backlog so we can still make some progress here. But we want to hop on, rate the new cards. They're new and exciting, and probably somebody out there wants to know what we think about them. So we're gonna go ahead and do that.
Yeah. So,
Well, but actually, I almost forgot. Before we hop into that, we've actually got a couple of segments that we're going to jump into. The first of which is called Andrew's Research Corner. Now, sometimes when we go through and look at these cards, we don't really know enough about the characters to accurately rank them, right? To compare their sort of what they are in the stories to what their card designs are. So Andrew graciously goes and researches them between our episodes so that he can speak to who they are. So, who do we have first, Andrew?
so first we have Sarah, which, if you recall last time, all we knew about Sarah was that she was Angela's girlfriend. Turns out, that's most of what everyone knows about her. In fact, if you try to look her up, it gives you her Marvel wiki page, and then everything else is just stuff about Angela. So
Interesting.
she was a male angel who was like knew magic and was enslaved, and then some monster attacked the place she was in, and Angela was there, and then she helped Angela, and Angela, she was like, "Can you take me away from here?" And he did, and then to make her own, that she got turned to a female. Um, she dated Angela, then she broke up with Angela, and apparently now she's going back to be with Angela. Uh, she's a generic magic character. Um, that's about it. That's about all I wrote.
Okay, interesting. So, so wait, so she's an angel? Like
Uh,
originally was an angel?
yes.
Huh. Okay. I mean, that's just interesting. F.
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay. Here's what I'll say about this, right? I feel a little bad putting her in F just because, like, she's not really a character. But okay, but here's the thing about that. If she's not really a character, why is she a card in Marvel Snap?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, like,
the thing is, I don't know what they would give her, but I think that's, again, as you're saying, is kind of the problem, because what I would give her is I don't know, because I wouldn't think to make a card for her.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is just. I feel like categorically, this card's not going to be good, right? Like, unless here's the only thing that I would say. If it had a strong, well, no, I was gonna say if it had a strong synergy with Angela, but it'd be the Devil Dinosaur Moon Girl problem, right? Where it's like, sure, they have synergy with each other, but like that like doesn't matter, you know. Um, I don't know. Maybe if they had synergy with each other, but they don't. And Angela's card isn't interesting, so
And was also an F, so it'd be two S. Was yes, it would literally just be Double Dinosaur Moon Girl, where they have synergy, but they're both not good.
yeah.
Okay. And with that, we can move on to Shang-Chi. to do research. The last time we knew Shang-Chi had a movie and was a martial artist. Turns out he had a movie. He's a martial artist. Uh, so, a little peek behind the curtain. Me and Max were actually going to record this episode the day before, but then it was too late because he lives on the East Coast and I live on the West Coast, and he wanted to go to bed after taking a shower. So, we didn't. But we talked a bit about Shang-Chi. So Shang-Chi is listed as being one of the best non-superpowered martial artists in the Marvel Universe. I take umbrage with that because he has like chi, and he can use like chi focus, and he can apparently catch bullets from sniper rifles, which I don't know about you, but that sounds like he just has superpowers. We were talking about that because
Yeah,
like
man.
he's the best non-magic, non-superpowered fighters because he just has magic, and I would just ignore. It's like it reminded me of Heihachi, where it's like, oh man, how could this guy beat a person with the devil genes? It's like he just has lightning powers. They never talk about why Heihachi has lightning powers in Tekken, but he just does,
Yeah.
and they just kind of
So I mean,
ignore that.
yeah. But he is the 10 rings, right? Like
Yeah, he did later. He did
that's his,
later get the 10 heavenly rings, and they gave him magic, and he can like make them grow big and trap people in them. So yes, he does later. He also had Spider-Man's powers through the spider virus, which is actually important to the next character we're gonna be talking about. There was a whole thing with this lady called the Queen infected people with spider virus that gave them spider powers and then turned them into like spider hybrid humans, and then so a bunch of people had Spider-Man's powers for a bit, and then they ended up getting cured later. He was one of them, but that was a different thing. But yeah, he does have the 10 heavenly rings that give him magical abilities, which he is wearing in the artwork for these cards. That's what those silver things on his wrists are the 10 heavenly rings.
interesting. So, I mean, what do we think about how that relates to him taking down big, powerful things? Like specifically big, powerful things. Like, is he like is he like a monster hunter? Like, does he have like a nemesis that's like really strong?
He is better than he used to be though, because he does 10.
That's true. That's true. That is
9.
a funny number. Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of the same cat. Honestly, I will say he's doing much better than Iron Fist because Shang-Chi's not punching his allies. He's just walking and punching someone else in the face, which is what he does.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. If this was like if this was like Taskmaster's design or something like that, right? Or like I don't know, like Craven the Hunter. Yeah, like somebody whose job it is to like take people out, right? I mean, yes, like Taskmaster's other thing is that he can like copy people's like fighting styles and stuff. But like if it was somebody who was like known for like bringing down big monsters or like high profile targets or something like that, even like Punisher, right? Like I feel like you could roll with that. But Shang-Chi, I don't know. It just doesn't really like. There's nothing particular about Shang-Chi that makes this design make sense.
Yeah, this honestly kind of feels like they were like, well, Shang-Chi just had a movie. Let's put him in our card game.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's cool that he's like a usable card. I mean, speaking of the Punisher, right? Like it'd be cool if like cool characters had better abilities. But I don't really think that rescues Shang-Chi's design for me. So personally, I'm thinking F. I mean,
I would
maybe
argue
D.
I would argue D for me because Shang-Chi is a person who fights people, and again, he's really, really good at doing that. Because I think to me, there's not enough. Because like F is like from almost all the cards in F, there's like a major disconnect of why they do the thing they do.
Sure.
Shang-Chi's makes sense. It's just not inspired, like at all.
Okay. I can agree with that. That makes sense.
Shang-Chi's not completely devoid. It's just kind of creatively bankrupt.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Like the specificity doesn't really make sense, but they did make a character that deals damage deal damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So That brings us on to, please say this name because I'm really bad at Spanish and you're much better at saying Spanish words than I am.
Aranya.
Aranya. So, Aranya, she's part of this secret organization called the Spider Society. She's the hunter for it. This is an evil organization called the Wasp Society that also is old and exists. She has like a spider tattoo that gives her like a bunch of enhanced abilities, and then later she got infected with the spider virus but didn't turn to a spider person, so she also has copies of Spider-Man's power. So she's another spider-themed hero who used to have vaguely spiderish powers and now just has those and also Spider-Man's powers.
Okay. Where is Spider-Man on our chart? Because I feel like
Spider-Man.
Aranya is probably going to go right around where he is,
Uh,
wherever Peter Parker
well,
is.
Spider-Man's in Sublime.
So, okay. So I mean, because here's the thing. I feel like Aranya does very similar stuff to Spider-Man, right? So I mean, she doesn't move herself, right? But she moves allies.
Well,
You know, she
she's
grabs them,
much more
pulls
similar to
them.
Ghost Spider.
Right. And I mean that just makes sense, right? I think that like it's not only is it just makes sense, but it also like it synergizes. Like I like that the spider people do a lot of moving. I guess you know, uh get excited for next time when we talk about more spider people for November. But yeah, I mean to me, like I feel like it sounds like Aranya has a lot of stuff in her story background to justify the fact that she exists in the first place. But when it comes down to it, when you're boiling down a character for a card game, I feel like you go, oh, Spider Person, and then she does the spider thing, you know? And I feel like she executes it pretty well. So, well, I mean, what do you think about the one power though? I think that's maybe the one thing that's like
The thing
maybe a
with
little
me is
weird.
like, I don't know, I'm like, my mind's kind of split between Sublime and A. And the only reason I maybe think A is for some reason Silk's in A, where it's like it doesn't feel like Aranya's card really focuses on anything stuff that makes her different than the other spider people, but also I'm not sure how they would do that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say here's what I'm thinking. I would say A, and my reason for that is that Aranya adds a power to a card, and I don't know why she does that. Um, you know, because
that is
Ghostfire
true.
doesn't do that. That makes sense. But Aranya does. Why does Aranya do that? And Ghostfire doesn't.
I don't
Because
know
it's
the answer
like
for that.
even if there was like something tenuous, like but like Aranya is like a leader, right? Like, you know, uh, or something like that. Because a lot of characters, they give buffs, but they're like leaders. So it's like, oh, it makes sense. Like they bring together a team or something, or they help somebody out, or. But I mean, yeah. So I would say A. Pretty comfortable spot. Not bad at all.
I can agree with that. With that, yeah, we are done with Andrew's research corner. We can now make a 90-degree turn, which is impressive because our currently this room we're building only has two corners. To our other segment, Maxwell's retcon corners. If you want to take it away.
Yeah, so it's called the retcon corner because these characters they change over time. Sometimes the Marvel design team realizes they've made a grave mistake, or sometimes decides they've made a grave mistake when they haven't, and they completely redesign a card. Instead of just like tweaking the power or cost or whatever, they will make a significant enough change that we have to cover it. So, without further ado, our sole occupant of the retcon corner at this time is Kang the Conqueror. Now, previously, Kang had a very flavorful but mechanically very bad ability that let you sort of reset the turn after playing him, and then he goes away, and so it's like, oh well, maybe I guess you could turn things to your advantage by using Kang's time powers, right? Sounds really cool. It wasn't in game. Now, instead of being a 5/0, he is actually a 3/4, 3 cost, 4 power. And his ability is game start, replace this with 4 Kangs with text from random cards that cost 3 or more. So I mean, first of all, just a very good card. It's basically like Nightmare, but significantly stronger. And as far as flavor, it's spot on. I mean, we don't really do like art effects, but it's super cool that like, it basically it brings about Kang variants, and that's true both in the comics and in the MCU, right? Like Kang is this like influential figure that exists like across time and space, and is extremely powerful. And he has like multiple versions of himself. I guess we'll cover him a little bit later, but like Iron Lad, right, is one of the various like sort of different time period versions of Kang. It's like a younger Kang, and sometimes even Kang shows up to stop a different like time version of him from doing something, which is crazy. Um, but yeah, I mean it's very flavorful. It feels like Kang, even though it's like a completely different sort of dimension of what Kang is. But I mean, if anyone was going to do this, I feel like it would be Kang. So I would say Sublime Design.
And I would agree. This is a this is a monumentous day because this is the first time we have ever had a character get redesigned and they go up. Actually, they don't go up. They stay
Yeah.
the same. Because almost every time a card gets redesigned, we don't like it. We did it before. She was done before we did this tiers. Like we didn't like the American Chavez rework. Uh, Ghost went from Sublime to F, but Kang managed to, through them somehow figuring out how to make a much better card that also is really good with Kang, managed to stay in Sublime. Although now
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're ever gonna get like Immortalist, because that'd be funny.
Yeah, Mortis or like Ramatut. I mean, because they have a Ramatut variant like in the game. Although that wouldn't stop them.
Yeah,
Like
as we're about to find
see
out.
the first Ghost Rider,
Well, we're also about to find out.
or the zombies. Yeah. So so this season in October 2025 was the zombie season. So we got a bunch of zombies. Now, as I was alluding to at the beginning of this episode, Marvel Snap it borrows from the comics and from the MCU, as well as like a couple. Well, no, that's really it. I guess like they do
And
X Men
Marvel
'97
Rivals.
as well. Yeah. Oh, and Marvel Rivals. That's right. So like, but it's kind of like almost anything goes if it's not like I don't know fan fiction or whatever, right? Um, so uh, so the zombies that are in this, it's interesting. So this is not the first, and certainly will not be the last. Like cross marketing tie-in, right? Season where they go, oh, this thing is coming out in theaters or on Disney
Well, actually,
Plus,
this is the second time they did it for
Um,
Marvel What If, even because we already have Captain Carter and
yeah,
Hydra
yeah,
Stomper, which are also from What If.
right. Which is like what if is pretty much MCU. Who knows if like what if will come like if it will affect the MCU, but certainly it's based on the MCU, right? Um, but so the funny thing about it is that this season is a tie-in with Marvel Zombies on Disney Plus, from What If. However, these are not the characters from that. These are the characters from the Marvel Zombies comic that came out like around like the 2000s time. Um, so I went and researched. So I did a lot of research actually in advance. So we didn't have to do an Andrew's research corner. We did a preemptive, research expedition where I watched the new Marvel Zombie show and went, oh, this has nothing to do with the cards, and it was okay. I'd recommend it if you like the Marvel Zombies What If episode, but it was just okay. And I did not read the comics, but I read summaries of them. Okay, on the wikis. Um, And I have some thoughts about these cards. So let's start with the hunger. I feel like this is a good place for some lore explanation here. So the way that the Marvel Zombies comic works, right? And we're not talking about Battle World, when Doom took over everything. We're talking about the actual world where the zombies are from, right? Um, so they have this thing that they call the hunger, and it's what drives the zombies forward. It becomes like their sole obsession, right? So the thing that's interesting about the zombies in the Marvel Zombies world is that they're infected with this zombie thing. It makes them ravenous to consume other beings. It also makes them extremely resistant to physical damage. Only complete destruction of the brain, and I'm talking like not like the brain gets cut in half, but like literally all of it is gone, will kill a zombie, right, in this world. So, the hunger is the other interesting thing about it. They're really hard to kill, and they have this desire to eat other things. The only thing that stops them from eating each other, and only sometimes stops them, is that other zombies taste really bad to them. Um, and what basically happens in this world is like this hero comes down that's infected with the zombie virus, and basically infects all of the Avengers like immediately because they show up when this like spaceship comes down and they all get infected and they just start rampaging throughout New York City. Um, and they still have all of their powers, they still have most of their cognition, but they have this extreme psychological desire to eat things. um, and That is what the hunger is. So how do I feel about the hunger as a card? Well, it creates more zombies. Here's the problem I have with that: the hunger does result in more zombies, so already this is decent. But the hunger doesn't necessarily result in the creation of more zombies, because the zombies aren't driven by a desire to convert other people. And indeed, if they were to say, like Plants vs Zombies, like if they're really interested in brains, if they consume a brain, it doesn't create a zombie because that's the only thing that can kill them. So for the hunger card specifically, I would say A. The reason why I would say that is because as a skill, it kind of occupies a weird space, right? It doesn't fully encompass what the hunger is, but I think it's very good in that, generally speaking, the hunger is what the zombie infestation kind of is. It's like a specific dimension of it, but maybe they're saying the hunger describes the zombie phenomenon. And so I would say, for me, that makes it an A. That being said, when you apply the hunger to and kind of what their specific version of becoming a zombie is to the rest of the characters, it starts being a little less favorable. So kind of quick firing off, right? Most of these characters you will recognize, and they're basically exactly the same in the zombie universe. Colonel America, he's just called that because that's what he's called in this universe, because the universe is slightly different, right? Ant-Man is still Giant Man because the universe is slightly different. But all these other people, they're the same people. We'll get to Zombie Galacti in a second. I would say, right, the core thing with these zombies is they retain all of their abilities and most of their cognition. They just all they care about is eating things now, right? So what I would think, right? Like if I'm like, okay, they're these characters, they're zombies, but they have all their same stuff. Probably it's the same character but with a twist. And some of these characters do fulfill that. Some more than others, right? So a good example of this is Headpool, right? Now Headpool, similar to Deadpool in Marvel Snap, is a card that when it's destroyed goes to your hand and regenerates, right? Now it's kind of wonky because like the whole thing with Headpool is that he's a head, and like I don't know if you destroy the head, they die. So like I mean I'm not really sure what's going on there exactly. But he's a comedic relief character, right? So he gets cartoon rules, right? Um, so I would say that I would rate Headpool somewhat favorably. He's like Deadpool, you know. So we could throw him in C. He's basically the same character but slightly different. That makes sense. Um, what's another good one? We could look at say Zombie Giant Man. Now Zombie Giant Man, um, again, kind of makes sense, right? His whole thing is that he gets big in a power sense. He gets big um, when there's lots of zombies. And that actually makes sense, right? The zombies, they care about eating things. Now, they don't really get stronger necessarily from eating things, at least not most of the time, but they can. And so, Zombie Giant Man getting bigger the more zombies they are, it kind of makes sense. He doesn't eat the zombies, which is good because that makes sense. He just kind of gets more powerful the more zombies there are. We could maybe justify this by saying that the existence of all these other zombies around makes it easier for him to eat the things he really wants to because he has a large army at his back of regular old human people zombies. Um,
It's interesting because Giant Man actually has he misses the boon that some of these cards, but also the bane some of these cards have. The fact that we don't have a Giant Man card,
yeah,
so his
and I
effect can't be
mean,
compared to normal Giant.
it kind of can, right? Like, the thing about Giant Man as a character is that he has the exact same power set as Goliath, Ant Man, Yellow Jacket, right? It's just that, weirdly enough, we don't actually have a Hank Pym character in the game. We have, MCU Yellow Jacket, MCU Ant Man, and like later,
Yeah,
2000s
Black
Goliath.
Goliath.
Instead of, after Hank Pym had changed his name to Goliath instead of Giant Man. Um, and he Hank Pym is in the MCU, but again, this is entirely the comics, right? So I mean, I would say Giant Man is pretty good. Um, I would rate him relatively highly, maybe in B. He makes sense, but as you heard, you kind of have to do a little bit of justifying there.
I'll be honest, I
Um,
kind of mildly zoned out. What did you give Headpool?
I put Headpool in C. All right. So we just talked about eating things to gain their abilities, and that's relevant for the zombie galacti. Um, as insane as it sounds, um, Galactus came to Earth, and the zombie Avengers just beat him up, and then ate him. And they gained his powers. Um, and so now those six Avengers, former Avengers, they're now the zombie galacti, and they just fly around the galaxy, just eating planets, or well, all the people on them, because they still have the hunger. They're just really powerful now, which is insane. Um, but how does it relate to the game? Well, their ability in game, right, is they make six copies of themselves, but not initially, right? They kind of make six other cards be sort of sleeper zombie galacti, and then when the zombie galacti card is played on reveal, it turns all the other ones into copies of the zombie galacti with all of the like buffs and debuffs that the zombie galacti card might have, right? So um the stronger a zombie galacti card is, the stronger all of the cards that will become its copies are. I think this card's it's like so-so. It's a very challenging idea to execute mechanically, and you can tell that that's the case by how insane that like mechanical description was, right? That it's like, oh, it marks all these cards, but they're not actually the card. But then when you play the card, they become the card, and it carries over the stuff. It's a lot of hoops to jump through. Personally, I wouldn't have made this card. Um, because I think it's just a lot, right? To put into a card instead of like, multiple characters. It would be like if you had an Avengers card that had like, 3 rows of text on it. You'd be like, what the what? Just make them all different characters, you know. But evaluating what we have, I think it's okay. Um, I guess the idea being that like, you know, I guess 6 random characters who theoretically could be the characters depicted on the Zombie Galacti card, right? They get Galactus's powers and they become significantly more powerful. Um, I'm not really sure why this is 7 cost. Um, like, from a lore perspective, from a mechanical perspective, I get it. Um, Galactus is very strong, you know. Um, but I don't know. This is okay. I give it a C. I get it. I don't like it. I get it. Okay. Now the rest of these cards I don't like as much. So we'll go over the ones I like a little bit more. So Zombie Sentry and Zombie Captain Marvel. These are the other 2 cards that are sort of spins on their existing Marvel Snap cards.
would disagree.
For whatever reason,
Colonial
Sentry
America.
cares about the right location. What's that?
Colonial America's a spin on Captain America.
Colonel America. Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. So, so Zombie Sentry, right? Regular Sentry. He can't be played at the right location and creates a void at the right location. Zombie Sentry um, can be played wherever, and on reveal adds a horde +1 for each of your cards at the right location. I guess we didn't really talk about this when I talked about Giant Man, but just to get you up to speed, there's some cards that have a horde plus whatever number, and that just means that in a location that you didn't play them, right? When horde activates, a zombie horde comes into existence. It's a 0 cost, and it has whatever power equal to horde plus whatever has been played, right? So if you go horde +2, then if there's no horde currently on the board for you, it'll appear at a different location where you played the card that has horde +2, and it'll gain 2 power. It'll be 0-2 in that location. And as you play more horde cards, they don't create new hordes; they just add to the existing one. It's kind of like the amass mechanic. If you've ever played Magic the Gathering in War of the Spark, where it creates a bigger and bigger zombie army.
Lord of the Rings, which had a mass orcs.
Yeah, yeah. So Zombie Sentry, he makes more zombies. Okay, I guess. And he cares about the right location. Okay, I guess. I mean, it's not really obvious to me why the Sentry specifically cares about the right location. It's kind of like Giganto, right? Where it's kind of like the locations left or right don't signify anything, right? This isn't like Gwent where like, there's different specific areas on the board that mean different things, right? They're just whichever one reveals first and whichever one reveals last. And then, move cards will care about them sometimes in relationship to each other, but they don't mean anything individually. And so similarly to regular Sentry, I don't know why this cares about the right location. The void is completely gone, which who knows how that works with Zombie Sentry. Um, and yeah, I mean, honestly,
go out and like bring as many people as Sentry 8 back to life.
yeah, like I don't even like what happens when the Sentry's a villain, right? With the void. Personally, um, it's a zombie that makes more zombies. That kind of makes sense. I would say D. I think, because it's a twist on an already weak design, it just doesn't really, in the wrong way, right? Like it took the care about the right location thing, but that's not what makes Sentry interesting, right? So I don't really like this one. Zombie Captain Marvel. This one is a twist on the existing Captain Marvel card, which rates pretty highly. This one's a little bit different. So, with Zombie Captain Marvel, it is also a 4 cost, it has 4 power, and it has an activate where you destroy your other cards here to get 3 power for each, and it moves to a location you're losing. Now, I like the second sentence of that, right? It's just like regular Captain Marvel, except like on demand. Sure. The destroying the other cards here to get 3 power for each is interesting. Um, it it is, well, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I actually do like this card. And the reason why I like it is because it perfectly melds the idea of the zombie with the idea of the Captain Marvel. Because the zombie part is that, she consumes the other characters there, right? Which, as we see in the zombie galacti, it's how the zombies work, right? They consume other beings. If the beings are strong, you get stronger. And Captain Marvel flies to new locations because she's trying to win the other locations, right? So I would actually say this is the best of the designs from a pure lore perspective, because it is what it's supposed to be, right? A character that has the hunger and it actually accurately describes how the hunger works, or depicts how the hunger works, and it's the character still because they still have their abilities and most of their mind, from more of like a logical perspective than like a emotional one. So I think this might be sublime, personally.
Are you sure your love for Captain Marvel is not just clouding your judgment?
No, if anything, I would rank it lower. I don't like to see Captain Marvel as a zombie. Carol Danvers doesn't deserve this. But I think if you're gonna set about to create a awful card like this, an awful character, you might as well do it right, and I think they did.
So I will give,
Um,
because I will say, because we did not explain this in the episode. If you're wondering, man, why is Max just giving a monologue here and Andrew's interjecting when normally Andrew's the guy who knows a lot more about Marvel Comics than Max? So the reason for that is I really hate Marvel Zombies and refuse to do any research into it. So Max had to do the research because literally was like, either you're doing the research or we're just not going to rank these cards because I'm not looking into it.
yeah, and I
So
mean, listen, I was happy to do the research, but I have to say I'm not the hugest fan of Marvel Zombies either. But we figured we'd include them just because it would feel weird if we didn't do them. Okay, so Colonel America is the last one that kind of ties into his existing card. So Colonel America is a 3 cost, 3 power with ongoing. Your other cards here have -1 power for each turn you discard a card.
plus one.
Sorry, yeah, +1 power for each turn you've discarded a card. So it's very similar to Captain America, but instead of caring about them having ongoing, Colonel America just generally cares about cards being discarded. Um, the so let's pair this card with another card, to kind of justify that. Now, normally, right, this carding things is kind of a vampire effect for whatever reason
A
in Marvel
sword
Snap.
effect.
Yeah. Colonel America is a zombie. It's kind of like a vampire, right? But not quite. However, Zombie Power Man also discards things. Zombie Power Man's a 2 cost for power, and at end of turn, if you're winning here, discard the leftmost card from your hand. Now, I just talked about how amazing Zombie Captain Marvel is. Um, my read on what they were going for with this discard effect is that The zombies discarding cards is kind of also like them consuming things. And that kind of makes sense. I can generally understand that, right? Because unless it's like a card that constantly regenerates, like Deadpool or well, not Deadpool in game, but like
Wolverine
Wolverine
X-23,
or
Spawn,
X-23,
or
right?
Apocalypse. Or
Um,
Swarm, I guess, technically.
yeah, the card goes away, right? As if it was, destroyed by a zombie superhero eating them wholesale. So I'm kind of friendly to that. It's not consistent across Marvel Snap, but if viewed in a vacuum, it does make sense. Um, Colonel America getting strong because cards have been discarded. It doesn't really fit. Um, because the zombies aren't actually particularly cooperative with each other. I mean, they generally are because they have no reason to eat each other because they just taste bad. But make no mistake, if the other zombies tasted good, the zombie Avengers would eat each other because that's just how the hunger works. They literally do that sometimes when they get mad at each other, or when there's nothing else to eat. Um, and you know, so I'm not really buying this whole Colonel America making everyone stronger because the discarding has happened. Um, maybe you could say Colonel America's team when they're well fed, he can bring them all together because one of the things about the hunger is that when the hunger is well sated, they can think a little bit more clearly. They're a little more lucid for a short period of time. Literally in the zombies comic, when the Avengers like start tearing through New York City, they literally just like eat like thousands of people, and they suddenly are like, oh man, like they like snap out of it for a moment. And they're like, we should go back to the Avengers mansion and like figure out a cure for our disease. So they go back really quickly. By the time they get back, they're already hungry again. They like eat Jarvis, and then they go on a rampage again somewhere else. Um, so it's only for a short period of time that this lucidness happens. Um, that's a lot of density again to fit into Marvel Snap. But look, all that to say, it's interesting. It's interesting that these two cards do that, but not all of them do that, which is kind of like, pick a lane, right? Is it destroy? Is it discard? Is it both? So Colonel America would be better for me if it was a little more synergistic, and even if it was, eh, it's okay. So I would say for Colonel America, personally, I would say D, maybe C. Zombie Power Man, I would say D. He's pretty similar to kind of like the vampires, where it's like, I guess, but it's not great. Now our last two. Zombie Scarlet Witch, Zombie Mister Fantastic. These are both going in F, but we'll describe what they do. So Zombie Scarlet Witch, she is the marquee card of the season. She costs 3 and has 4 power. After you play a card here, Horde +2. That makes no sense. Um, why would she need somebody else there to create the zombies? Um, that's dumb. So that goes in F. Um, Zombie Mister Fantastic um, is a 2 cost 2 power. On reveal, Horde +2, and activate. Give 4 of your created cards +1 power. He's the first card that is on reveal and activate, which is terrifying for the future of Marvel Snap. From a mechanical
I
perspective.
can't wait for
But who
the
knows?
on reveal, ongoing, activate, and static ability card.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe if, DC caves and lets them use their IP for Marvel Snap, right? Superman comes in and, he's got ongoing flying, activate laser vision, on reveal super strength.
Yeah.
um,
And he adds a skill to your hand.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, here's the thing. Now, as a person who plays Marvel Snap, I don't like this. As someone who reviews Marvel Snap cards for their lore, I like it because you can add multiple powers. Sadly, Zombie Mr. Fantastic is an excellent case study in chronically missed opportunity. Uh, or not chronically, but horribly missed opportunity. Because he's two cost, two power, on reveal horde +2 and activate give created cards +1 power. Why does he do literally any of the things that he does? Right? It's not a twist on the existing Marvel Snap card. He's not giving power to locations. He's not stretching. He literally like throws a flask as his animation, which like okay, I guess it's kind of like Mr. Fantastic
Silency.
First Steps, but it's not really like Mr. Fantastic First Steps. Um, and the Horde +2. Why would he do that? Again, just like just like Scarlet Witch. I just don't get this, right? It's like I don't understand why it does any of the things it does, and it does a lot of stuff. So I mean, it's almost insulting, right? They said, "Hey, what if we had the ability to give this character two interesting abilities, and they missed twice? Never been done on a card before, you know." Um, Truly, it is, it's a seminal failure. Never been seen before. Dropping of the
Hopefully,
bag.
will never be seen again.
Yeah, yeah. So Zombie Mister Fantastic. I don't know. Do we create a Zombie Mister Fantastic tier?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not
Below
giving. I'm not giving Marvel zombies that.
yeah, we can create Marvel Zombies tier below F. Yeah, if we hadn't ranked them, maybe that's where we would put them. But but yeah. Well, with the zombies out of the way, what do you think about taking care of some more of our backlog?
We can hopefully move on to more pleasant things like yeah, this one's good. Squirrel Girl. So Squirrel Girl is a 1/2 on reveal. Add a 1 power squirrel to the other two locations. So Squirrel Girl, you might know from her breakout role in Marvel Rivals. She has squirrels. This card summons squirrels. Checks out.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. The thing about Squirrel Girl is that she doesn't really have like super interesting abilities. Um, and she's like if you thought that whatever character was a Mary Sue, you've not seen Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl's literally defeated Thanos. Um,
Yeah, she's defeated
like
Galactus.
yeah, like Squirrel Girl is on a different level of Mary Sue. But
Squirrel Girl.
she's a comic relief
Squirrel
character,
Girl falls
right?
into my least favorite Marvel character role, which is the comedy character, where they're like, wouldn't it be really funny if this character who said in no way be able to beat this really dangerous threat just beat this really dangerous threat easily? And I gotta be honest, no, it's not funny at all.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't find it funny.
So I would say with Squirrel Girl, there's perhaps a little bit of unrealized, potential of comedy hijinks. But if you're playing Squirrel Girl straight, this is probably the best example of that. She's a one drop, which is exactly correct because she shouldn't be very strong, and she creates squirrels, which is exactly correct because she, brings a bunch of squirrels with her. So I would say this is at least A. Do you think this gets into Sublime Design?
I would maybe say yes, mainly because of her synergies with Central Park. So, as if you don't know, Squirrel Girl lives in Central Park, and the location Central Park in Marvel Snap adds a squirrel to every location.
Yeah.
So, because I would say, as you said, Squirrel Girl doesn't have a super interesting power set. Her ability to communicate and command squirrels is probably the most interesting and unique thing she has. So, in a similar way to Doctor Doom, I would say this card really well represents her uniqueness as a character. If you're like, not just having her like be on reveal, win the game or something. stupid
Right.
like that.
All right.
Yeah, we can move
Who's
on
next?
to a card I don't really know much about. I don't know if you do. Stature. I know she has pimp particles, and that's the end of the list of things I know about Stature.
Hmm.
We
Yeah,
can
I feel
temporarily
like
put her in Who Is This before we put her in F next time, because I can guarantee there's going to be nothing in her story or power set that makes sense with her having. If your opponent discard a card, she cost one.
ah. So I just had to look it up because I wanted to make sure I was correct. I was. So this is Ant-Man's daughter.
Ah,
She is not Pym or Van Dyne. She's Cassie Lang. She's Scott Lang's daughter. Um,
okay.
yes, yes. She was originally Stinger, then she became Stature, because she was like the Wasp, but then she became like Goliath, but she's Stature because, different character. So yeah, she's Ant-Man's daughter. I mean, eh, it doesn't excite. What does the card do in Marvel Snap? It's a 5 cost, 7 power, but it costs 1 if your opponent discarded a card this game. Um, yeah, which, I mean, okay, that's an ability that you could put on a card. I don't know why it's this card, but okay.
Mildly, that
Once
seems like
again,
I don't know,
this
like a.
card apparently just means anything in Marvel Snap, from a
You know
lore
what this would have
perspective.
been
So,
a decent card design for? Blade. Because this card's kind of a vampire thing, so it makes sense if he costs less to go fight vampires. But it's not. It's stature for some reason.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe she could shrink down and then punch their incisor off or something. I don't know.
Okay, moving on to Storm. So Storm is she's a 3/4 now.
Yes.
Yes, Storm is a 3/4. See, unlike the other
Sorry,
times I
3-2. She's
three
a three
two.
two
Oh,
now.
she's 3/2 again.
Yeah.
Okay, so unlike most times when we've done these tier lists, I actually have been playing more Marvel Snap recently, so I have a better idea what the stat lines for these cards are generally, except for Storm apparently. In my defense, people rarely play the Lockout deck anymore, and that's the only deck she ever sees play in. So Storm is 3/2. On reveal, Flood this location. So Flood is a thing that exists on this card and one location. Storm turns the location into a tile, and it's the next. This turn is the last turn you can play cards here, and the next turn, since to a different location, you can't play cards at. So I don't know. I guess she could do this
Yeah.
theoretically.
I would say this, right? She's a difficult character to create a good design for.
Yeah,
But I think that if you want to capture the magnitude of how strong Storm is, and when you think about what a terrible Storm does, I think this is actually a really good decision. Because she basically like creates this massive calamity that affects an entire place, not just the people at it, but the entire place itself, right? Because Storm is one of the most powerful mutants in the world. So I like it a lot. For me, this is definitely at least A.
I can agree with that. I feel like Storm. I don't know. She's one of those characters where she unfortunately just has the problem of I don't think you could ever really get a sublime design of Storm in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, like maybe if you use the newfangled abilities of having an on reveal and an activate or something, right? But yeah, she's just tricky to translate to a card game.
Yeah, they could make her the most powerful card ever, and she has her on reveal, and then her activates just move a card on your opponent's side out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we can move on to another discard card that I don't understand. Or I guess he's not entirely discard, but he was. Well, yeah, I'll say he was mostly played because I've seen Strong Guy I think once in the past 2 years.
Yeah. So strong guy, 3 cost, 3 power. Its ongoing is +6 power if your hand has one or fewer cards. So you know he gets better if you have less cards in your hand or almost no cards in your hand.
If you are
Um,
hellbent or heckbent, if you are a Marvel Magic player. Now,
yeah.
as his name implies, Strong Guy's power is he's really strong. Now you may say, what does that have to do with having one or fewer cards in hand? That's a good question.
Yeah. Yeah. Strong guy will ponder that for you while he's an F tier.
Yeah. Maybe if he comes up with a good answer, they'll give him a card design that actually makes sense. Yeah, with that we can move on to Sunspot. So Sunspot is a one cost, zero power. At the end of turn, if you have any unspent energy, he gains that much power.
I mean, look, he's an energy card, like energy projection, and yes, energy absorption, right, which makes sense for his abilities in the game. Energy projection characters are hard to translate. We know this. Um, I think Sunspot is maybe not the best character for this. It's not a bad character for it though. So me personally, I would say he's kind of he makes sense, but he's not that interesting. So my gut says B.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. It makes sense for Sunspot, but I don't think it really like it's not really like it doesn't scream Sunspot to me.
Yeah. Like maybe if it was like Havoc, you know, since that's something that Havoc is kind of known for, is absorbing energy. Um,
I mean, Havoc does do
but
that.
yes, in a different way.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's grab Havoc. Let's grab Havoc.
Where is the Havoc? Havoc, if you don't know, is one of the three Summer brothers with Scott Summers, and I always forget their older brother's name.
Yeah. So the thing about Havoc, right, is his whole thing is that he creates his energy projection by absorbing energy. Just kind of ambiently. It's like not necessarily like directly from people like blasting him with something like say the Black Panther suit in the MCU. He can do that technically, but that's not really where he gets it from most of the time. But in game, right, the fact that there's sort of ambient energy you're leaving behind and he's absorbing it to make himself more powerful, that makes sense. Um,
You
do
gonna
I
say what
think
the
that
card
I'd
does?
Oh well, he's a two drop, and he starts out with zero power. But at the end of turn, oh, he starts out with one now. But at the end of turn, you lose a max energy, and he gains +3 power. Notably, it doesn't mean that like if you put him on turn two, then turn three you'd have one energy. It's sort of like he just stops you from getting more because naturally you would get one more every turn unless you have other cards that give you more. He just kind of absorbs that one more that you would get each turn. So it's interesting. I think the fact that Havoc kind of like stunts you from getting new energy is a little weird. Like it's mechanically interesting. I don't know if it's mechanically flavorful. But certainly the fact that he absorbs energy and gets more powerful is spot on. In a way that, it isn't as interesting for Sunspot. I would actually say it's interesting enough that I personally would rather him have Sunspot's ability. Neither of them is perfect. I think, again, with Havoc, he absorbs sort of like background energy. So, like, the idea that it's kind of like he doesn't get more powerful the more energy that's left over makes sense. He just sort of gets energy,
You
you
know, we need to
know?
bring in here
Um,
because your discussions make me think of you just bring him
yeah.
in is Human Torch Jim Hammond. There it is.
Okay.
Sorry, it's Jim Hammond Human Torch. I got it slightly backwards.
Yeah. So this is the
Original Human Torch on the cover
original
of
Human
Marvel Comics
Torch.
#1.
Yeah. He's an android. He fought alongside Captain America and Namor and Bucky during World War II. Um,
Winter Squad,
yeah.
which is a
Well,
wild
or
ass. Which wild.
the
All Winter Squad is a wild name to call yourself. I'll be honest. Yeah,
yeah,
we're all
what was the
winners.
other name? I know we talked about this. Is it the Defenders?
Yeah,
No, it was
the Invaders.
the what?
The Invaders.
Invaders, yes. Yes. Because I remember it was like an aggressive name. But yeah. So anyways, so this is the original Human Torch. No relation to the new Human Torch, even though he looks like the new Human Torch.
Yeah, no relation except for
Um,
that Johnny Storm totally just stole this guy's name.
yeah. And does literally the same thing. But this guy's a robot. He's a one cost, two power in game, and at the start of each turn, he gets a power for each bonus energy you have. So very similar to Sunspot, but he instead of I guess like absorbing extra energy, he gets more powerful if you have an overabundance of energy. Um, which also I think kind of makes sense for Havoc. If there's like just latent energy
Yeah.
lying around,
But the problem we have here is that they designed two cards that are just cards that would also be great with for Havoc cards.
Yeah. So I mean, look, again, similar to Sunspot. Human Torch can do that. Um,
Eh, I don't know. I actually don't think this is a great design for specifically Jim Hammond. So Jim Hammond, if you don't know, unlike Human Torch from the Fantastic Four, who could just like turn like catch on fire, Jim Hammond is made of a synthetic material that, when exposed to oxygen, burst into flames. That's why he's on fire all the time. I think later when he came back, because he died as much as a robot can, he came back later. I think he has more control over it now. But like he's just an android who can be on fire. He's not really he's not Pyro from the X-Men, if you know who that is. I know you do. I'm talking to the audience.
sure, sure.
We both learned about Pyro from X-Men Evolution, so I'd hope you remember him.
Yeah. No, I do. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I guess with that in mind, Jim Hammond, Human Torch is kind of a miss. If energy absorption is like not really his forte. Um, honestly, you kind of expect Jim Hammond Human Torch to do something kind of like the current Human Torch because the current Human Torch has more energy absorption, whereas Jim Hammond was kind of more of just flying around and
Yeah.
blasting people.
Honestly, in his first
Um,
appearances, he couldn't even shoot fire. He was just on fire. He couldn't even fly in his first couple of appearances. He was just on fire.
wow, wow,
Like that was
yeah.
his
I
gimmick. Is he's
mean,
just on fire.
yeah. So I'll say this: I don't love Jim Hammond Human Torch. Um, maybe like D. Havoc I do like, but he could be better. So I would say A.
And I can agree with that.
All right, what do we
Okay,
have next?
we can move on to Super Scroll. This one's interesting. So Super Scroll is a 4/2 ongoing. Copy all of your opponent's ongoings. Now, you may know Scrolls from the Captain Marvel movie that had scrolls in it. Uh, and you may go, hey, I thought they just like shapeshifted into people. Correct. Most scrolls can just turn into like they can just pretend to be people. There are specific scrolls called the super scrolls who can copy powers. This, based on the art, is specifically, I forget his name, but he's a super scroll who fights the Fantastic Four a lot, and he typically copies all four of their powers at the same time, which is why he's stretching and rock and invisible and on fire. But these scrolls can copy people's powers. So this scroll just copies everyone's powers. Uh, it is weird he's copying like everyone's powers at the same time. Because, like, the most I think we've ever really seen in Super School is the one that copies all the Fantastic Four powers at the same time. Because, it's kind of hard to copy a bazillion people at the same time.
Yeah. but it does make sense. In a looser way. So I do like that because it would be kind of weird, like mechanically, if it was like copy up the four
Yeah.
ongoing abilities, and then you have
And
to
this is
like
another
mark which
person
ones
who
are
would
the
have been
newest ones or
a better
something.
fit for having Taskmaster's ability than Taskmaster on a
Yeah.
scroll.
I mean, I'm friendly to this design. I think it is very funny that only two of the cards that he's depict or two of the characters he's depicted copying have ongoing abilities. But that's like, that's not really like I think a downgrade to Super Scroll. It's just kind of a funny observation.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say Super Scroll. I'd rate pretty highly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think it's Sublime?
I don't know.
I don't know what more to ask of this card is really my thing.
I'll tell you what I would ask of it is to be uh oh that guy also, I don't know. It's hard design, which I guess is also makes sense because he is kind of similar. Makes me think of Mimic.
Mm.
This is a funny thing. So I know a lot more random obscure Marvel characters than Max does, but because Max is really into the X-Men, so he knows a lot of like really weird, specific, like niche X-Men characters. So I can bring up characters like a Mimic, who most people would go, "Who?" And Max goes, "Yes, Mimic."
I mean, what can I say? The Exiles are that's one of the best Marvel comics. Um, but yeah, this would be a good design for Mimic.
Mimic
Although the
does have
funny
the
thing with
minor
Mimic
power of
is,
he doesn't copy powers at full strength,
mhm,
and he also does have a limit for how many copies he can copy powers he can copy at a time.
yeah, but yeah, I like this. What do you think though? Sublime, A.
I would say A personally.
Okay, I'm all right with that.
Okay. It's really funny because you think my really touched about my flash memory is I have no idea. Even though I keep going down and grabbing cards, I have no idea what card I'm talking about next. And that card is, oh hey, I talked about him earlier. Swarm.
So I don't know who Swarm is as a character. Do you?
I do know who Swarm is as a character.
All right. Well, Swarm's abilities is a 2 cost, 3 power. When you discard this, add 2 copies that cost 0 to your hand. So who is Swarm as a character?
So Swarm is a Nazi scientist, but he's made it of bees now.
Ah, it's honestly kind of timely that we're doing this because I feel like I've been seeing on social media a lot of people talking about like a person who's actually a bunch of bees. And that's literally what Swarm is, apparently.
Yeah, and he's I don't remember exactly what he did. It's like, how Armin Zola's like a Nazi scientist who's now like in a robot. Swarm's that, except he's a bunch of bees.
Yeah. So I mean, does Swarm like multiply?
Not really.
Or
He's
okay.
just made of bees. That's literally
Can
it.
he split himself up into
He
different
can
groups of
he can
bees?
yeah, he can separate. I think his skeleton is in there, but
I see.
the bees are like loosely anchored to his skeleton.
That's interesting.
He's like a ghost, but like instead of like a ghost, it's just a bunch of bees. He did fight the runaways, and Gertrude and Old Lace could not help because Gertrude is deathly allergic to bees.
Oh, that's fascinating.
I really hope we get a Runaways season at some point because
That would be
it's
cool.
really sad that we only have one of them.
Yeah. And I mean, Nico's, I would say probably the coolest
If
one
you
in
were
my
gonna pick
opinion.
one of them, it should be Nico.
Yeah. But it'd be cool to get more of them. Okay, I mean, here's the thing. Uh, Swarm isn't like, I mean, not the Swarm probably was in Hydra, but Swarm isn't, like the mythical Hydra that, in Greek legend,
Yeah, not
right?
not the Marvel
Where,
organization, like the thing they named themselves after.
yeah. So I'm not really sure why if you cut Swarm in half, you get 2 swarms at full power. It would seem to me that you would get 2 swarms at half power because that's how Swarm works. or that it even be like, I don't know, like X-23, right? Where when Swarm gets like destroyed, Swarm just reconstitutes because Swarm can't be destroyed normally because he's a bunch of bees.
Yeah, you ever tried to like
Um,
shoot a swarm of bees? Probably not, 'cause it was like a terrible idea.
yeah. So I don't. I can see kind of where they're coming from with this, but I think it misses the mark for me. I think to me that kind of lends itself toward a D ranking.
I would agree. I would
All
agree that
right.
it feels D-ish. And move on to yeah, great favorite F. Actually, no, I'm gonna agree with this. I don't. I'm assuming he's probably gonna go to F, but all I know about Swordmaster is he's a magic sword, and that doesn't sound good for him.
So so here's the thing. I actually do know a bit more
Oh,
about
cool, cool. So
Swordmaster.
so I can put him in F then.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He's a 3 cost, 6 power. On reveal, discard an odd cost card from your hand. He's yet another character with a sword that has nothing to do with discarding. It doesn't really make sense. He's actually the current Iron Fist. Fun fact. It's no longer Danny. It's actually this guy. Um, I know that because he's in Marvel Rivals as Iron Fist, and I was like, "Who the hell is this?"
Yeah, the character with
It's the character who was formerly Swordmaster.
the thing that still gets me about him being Iron Fist in Marvel Rivals is that he has so few stories as Iron Fist that if they ever want to make a skin that's based on the comics, they have to just put him in one of Danny Reed's costumes.
Yeah, which is interesting. You know what? Speaking of Iron Fist, go ahead and grab Fan Fei because I recently learned who that is. Fan Fei is actually the first Iron Fist. She's in the prehistoric Avengers, the very first Avengers that were founded by Odin Borson, the father of Thor Odin's son. Um, and Fan Fei, she was actually exiled from Kunlun for teaching cavemen how to use martial arts, which is crazy.
Sure.
And she became the first Iron Fist because the dragon that all the Iron Fists have to defeat was killing all of the cavemen that she taught martial arts. It's just hard to like it's just so silly. But yeah, the dragon was killing all of the cavemen that she taught martial arts to. And she fought the dragon and won and became the first Iron Fist. So she gained the Iron Fist abilities when she did that. Unfortunately, she does the same thing that Iron Fist does. So, where do we have Iron Fist? Is Iron Fist in
He's an F.
D? He's an F. Yeah. Well, she goes to F too.
Yeah, they
But
missed an
but yeah,
opportunity to make her not summon martial art cavemen.
that's so true. That's so true.
Here's one that's slightly better.
Oh
Break our
man, the
streak.
main man, Thanos. Oh, we love Thanos.
Yeah, why don't you take it away? You're the one who spent $50 on a bundle so you could get him.
I did. So, yeah, that was a couple years ago, back when Thanos was new. But Thanos is a 6 cost, 12 power. And at game start, you shuffle the 6 Infinity Stones into your deck. It's probably not a good use of our time to go over what all the stones do. Just the quick and dirty on the stones. They're decent. Some of them do what you would expect, like the Reality Stone changes the location. Okay, that's cool. But like the Time Stone, like gives you energy, which is like okay, it kind of makes sense, because it's like you get more time to play cards, I guess. But like the the Power Stone,
The Power Stone's really the only one that's really significant to Thanos.
yeah.
Thanos is
Because here's the thing, right? So the way that Thanos works is that he puts these 6 stones into your deck at the beginning of the game. So you have an oversized deck Um, but if you play all of the stones, they don't all have to still be there. But if you play all of the stones, the Power Stone has an ongoing ability that makes Thanos significantly more powerful. Like it just gives him extra power. Um, and obviously, you still have to play Thanos, for him to be there to get that power, right? And the Power Stone still has to be there for that. And obviously, what that symbolizes is Thanos' quest to get the six Infinity Stones, put them into the Infinity Gauntlet, and then use them to make himself more powerful and presumably snap his fingers and kill half the people in the universe, right?
Or
Um,
alternatively, just be really powerful. This is comics Thanos. Because
uh,
the snapping thing, not really the thing that happened. That wasn't his goal. He did it to try and. So in the comics, Thanos has a crush on death, like the cosmic entity death, and he becomes reality at the Infinity War comic. The first one's really weird. They win
yeah.
because Nebula takes the gauntlet, and then someone's like, "Well, actually, you didn't even accomplish anything. Like Thanos did it." So she reverses time, and then originally Thanos had beaten all the celestial beings like one at a time, but then Nebula reversed time, and they all just went, "Yeah, no," and they all attacked at once. They just beat her up. That's how they won. That's how that event ended.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Um, I think it's cool. It's honestly strange to have a card that gives you a quest. That's not common in Marvel Snap, or I mean, honestly, in many card games, right?
Yeah. Oh.
I think it's cool
Mm.
because I think this is. I mean, in the comics, Thanos just kind of has the stones, and then he shows up, and the Avengers have to fight him. But in the movies, right, like that's the whole thing is like they're trying to
Oh no,
stop
he
Thanos
does
from
have to
getting all
go.
the stones.
He does part of the because the Infinity War is the end. It's the Infinity something else, but he does have to go get the Infinity Stones from a bunch of different people
Oh, okay.
in the comics, like because like the main story is like them trying to stop because they're chasing him because he's like he goes and fights like the champion and like the guy I forget the name of who's like really super fast. He's like interacting with all these random like cosmic beings who have stones.
Okay. Well, so then, yeah, I guess it is true to the comics as well. So I like it. I think that like Thanos he has other aspects to his character, but he's honestly most well known for assembling the stones, and that's what he does in the game. I would say Sublime. I think it's a design they put a lot of effort into, and I think it
Yeah, I
pays
would
off.
agree. And it's like I mean, he would have ended up in Sublime anyway, but if we had done this ranking a long time ago, he probably would not have been so high, mainly just because once upon a time, Thanos's the stones weren't like Thanos decks weren't built like Thanos nowadays. Pretty much, it's like Thanos. All the stones are like designed to try and help Thanos and to help you play all the stones. It used to just kind of just be like you just drew a bunch of random cards, and then most decks just destroyed the stones because it was like free card draw and destroy, and they didn't even play Thanos. So that version of Thanos wasn't doing great, honestly. But they
Well, and I
eventually went,
mean, who's to say how he would have ranked it? Just because like the designer intent was that you would play Thanos, right? And the stones, I will say, the stones are all each individually quite powerful. So there's, I think there would have been some discussion there, but definitely now, like a sort of meta way, he's returned to where he should have always been, where it's the focus on getting all the stones so that you can use them with Thanos.
yeah,
It would be cool if, when you assembled all the stones, Thanos destroyed half of all the cards on the board. That would be kind of cool. And they could do that in the game because it's a computer based game, so they could do random stuff. But I mean, we already have Galactus. There's no need to overcomplicate it. So I think
yeah,
it's sublime.
yeah. And with that, we move on to the collect. I have literally never. It's just weird because sometimes I see this, I've literally never thought about the flavor of this card. So collector is he's like also rare. I see him all the time. Is he still one power? Or is he?
The collector is in fact 2 power
Okay.
now.
He has 2 cost, 2 power. When a card is added to your hand, he gains +1 power.
I mean, he do be
Besides
collecting.
drawing, he doesn't do undraw, but yeah, he do be collecting.
Honestly, I would say this is maybe like a C. Um, I think he'd be better if he had Angela's ability. Because the collector's whole thing is he
Mm,
assembles his own collection.
yeah, I think
Um,
let's rate
I don't know
the
why the hand
let's
is. We
let's rate.
already ranked Angela.
No. We're ranking the
Um,
brothers. They're not
what
actually
are you
brothers,
going
but they're
for?
from the same group. Oh wait, she'd probably be in the where are they? Man, if only I remember the way. If only I remember the ways of the alphabet. No, he's not. Okay, he's not in the
Also,
alphabetical.
you muted yourself.
Oh, well, that'd be in. But oh, so, yeah. Um, we can rank the brothers if I can figure out that. Have you seen Grandmaster?
Oh, oh.
There it is. Okay, we can rate the brothers. Oh man, I forgot Grandmaster used. I forgot they were so afraid of Grandmaster they gave him 0 power, or as his name is here, Randmast, because the G and the R are in fact cut off of this picture. So Grandmaster is a 2/3 on reveal, move an on reveal card to the middle location, and repeat its on reveal. Now, you may be like, why you bring this guy up? So I forget their name, but there's this group of people. They're all the something, although they don't actually put his thought. They just call him Grandmaster. But it's like there's the Collector, the Grandmaster, the Gardener, the Champion. They're all these just really, really, really old beings who do one thing. You may know Grandmaster from, I mean, you probably actually don't because you probably don't remember his character's name. You remember him? He was in Thor Ragnarok. Except he wasn't, because that character had literally nothing to do with Grandmaster besides being named Grandmaster. And he, for some reason, had the position of the Red King. Didn't have anything to do with the Red King either. That was just Jeff Goldblum. They just wanted Jeff Goldblum, so they just put Jeff Goldblum in the movie as Jeff Goldblum, and then called him Grandmaster for some reason. But I guess we can finish talking about the Collector. So yeah, I don't know, I guess it's like the hand is like, when you add things special, he like, you know what the collector's ability should have been?
Hmm.
He should have been Mockingbird.
Uh, yeah, that would be cool. I like that. Because I mean, I like the idea of him. Like I actually kind of building off Mockingbird. Maybe he could be kind of like Victoria Hand, but instead of buffing the cards that are created, he buffs himself whenever you play a created card or something like that.
Yeah, or he's
Right.
like, or you know, like a static ability like Devil Dinosaur or like Ronin, where he just has, like, I guess more like Gore at that point, where he just has more power for each created card you control.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I don't I like it. I don't love it. Maybe a C.
Yeah, I can bite for C. So Grandmaster, unlike the collector likes, weirdly enough, collecting things. Grandmaster likes playing games. Typically, his games involve using other people as playing pieces in his games. So I guess it's kind of it's weird because like one hand it's like I kind of don't get it, but on the other hand I'm like he does move them to where he wants them to be and then makes them do something, and like that is just what Grandmaster does.
Yeah. Um, and I will say Grandmaster's a very challenging card to adapt. Um, although, okay, hold on. Although I think that Ares actually would be a better design for Grandmaster. If you kind of think of it a different way. Um, and yeah, I mean, listen, I guess we're gonna talk about him. We can grab him too. So Ares, in Marvel Snap, is a 4 cost, 6 power. It's got an on reveal. Compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks. If your power total is higher, +6 power. So the thing about Grandmaster is he's had multiple times where he's grabbed like a team of heroes and then been like, I want you guys to fight my team of heroes, and he like grabs like the evil Avengers from like some other like multiversal world or something. Um, and then he has them fight for I don't even know if necessarily his amusement, just like because that's what he does.
Yeah, I don't know.
um,
He's a weird character because like mostly like again because collector just likes collecting things, so it's like he's very simple, but it's just like I don't know. Grandmaster just kind of does stuff.
yeah, but you know that's Grandmaster, right? So I think it would be cool if Grandmaster had an ability like Ares, right, where he was like, oh, you know, we'll have my guys fight your guys, and we'll see who wins. And Grandmaster does play to win, and I feel like Ares is as well. Like Ares design. Unfortunately, for Ares in Marvel Snap, I don't know if that's really a great design for Ares.
Yeah, I would
I mean,
definitively
this
say
is
it's
literally
not.
just Ares from
Yeah, this
Greek
is just the Greek
mythology,
god. It's just the Greek god.
and and not like like he's based on like much like Thor, he is literally the god from Greek mythology.
Well, technically not a
Um,
god. They're technically all aliens who are just really powerful that humans perceived as gods. Same difference.
yeah. Um, So I would say, me personally, Ares goes to F. And Grandmaster, because I think that there is a kind of a better design in the game, maybe A, maybe B. What do you think?
I don't know. I really like the fact that he just kind of like plays in one of your cards again, but just to the middle location. And I feel like that really fits for Grandmaster. I agree there are things they could do better, but I would personally say for this design, I would say A, because I feel like him kind
Okay.
of like playing your card like a play piece is
Yeah,
Grandmaster.
that works for me.
Okay, that can move on to. Oh, I've never thought about this card, but this one's going to be short. Titania. She's a one cost 5 power. I guess I can. I don't know. She's weird. So when someone plays a card at her location, she pushes side. So I think the joke is supposed to be Titania is like kind of flip flopped from being a villain to like being not a villain a lot. But like I feel like there's characters who would be a better who better exemplify that than Titania. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, it's kind of funny. Go ahead and grab Zemo.
We already ranked Zemo actually.
Oh.
He's
Uh
he's
yeah.
here somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't
So
remember where
so
we put Zemo.
I think we put him in A or Sublime.
Uh,
Did we not?
I don't think so. I just misremembering us having Zemo. Wait, did we rank? Please
I
stand
mean, he
by.
came in a later season and he starts with Z or B, I guess. He's Baron Zemo.
I remember seeing him. Oh, there he is. We did not rank Zemo.
Okay,
That
yeah.
is incorrect.
So Zemo, right? So as Andrew points out, Titania is a member of the Thunderbolts. Baron Zemo's team that he created that were villains, but they were pretending to be heroes so that later Zemo could reveal that they were actually just actually still villains and then attack the Avengers or something stupid like that. But the Thunderbolts, they were like, actually being a hero is kind of awesome. Like we get to save people, that feels good. People actually like us now and like respect us, which like it's kind of funny like that like the thing with some villains is they're that sort of like new like anti-villain, right, where it's like they don't really want to be a villain but like circumstances just kind of like push them in that direction, and when they get the chance to just be heroes they're like, oh wait, this is actually awesome. Like people like me and like I'm doing the right thing and that feels good. And that was basically what happened with the Thunderbolts. So they just beat up Zemo and like I don't know, threw him in a dumpster or whatever, and then
Yeah, it was very
decided to
funny
be
because it was like,
heroes.
aha, Avengers, my team's actually evil, and now we're gonna beat you. And they're like, nah. And he's like, wait, what?
Yeah. So the thing with Zemo, right, is that he has the ability to make people switch sides. So Baron Zemo's he's a 3 cost 5 power. On reveal, recruit a card that costs the least from your opponent's deck to this side of your location. Or sorry, to your side of this location. So he kind of has that interesting double agent flair to him, right? Kind of like Viper, as well. Some of that same Hydra kind of like infiltrator, DNA going on there. Um, but I think that Zemo is a much stronger design than Titania for executing this concept. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's better. Because the thing with Titania is like, yeah, the way that Titania works is when somebody shows up, so he switches sides. I don't know why that's the trigger for it. Like I get the idea of her switching sides. I just don't know why when a card is played at a location, that's why she switches sides.
Yeah. Maybe if I don't
Like,
know, if you were losing the locations, you would switch sides or something. That seems like it'd be a not
mm,
great design, just for gameplay.
it,
It would be better for
yeah,
flavor. It'd be probably. Actually, I don't know how much worse you could really get than the card she already is for gameplay design. Honestly.
yeah. I don't love this. I think it's okay. It does make sense, and not in a roundabout way. Like it just does make sense. But it's not great in its execution. Oh, you switched tabs. It's not great in its execution. So I'd say like maybe C. For Zemo, um, he kind of like it's almost backwards. But here's what I will say. And you probably didn't see. Did you see Captain America: Civil War, the movie?
I saw our parents watching it from the airport's fight scene afterwards. I do know Baron Zemo's like the guy who blows up Black Panther's dad.
Yes. And in
I know he's in Winter Soldier and Captain America.
yes, because his whole thing is that like he has control of like he gets like the book that they use to like for the code phrases that control the Winter Soldier. And he really doesn't like Captain America and doesn't like the Avengers because in the MCU he's
Yeah.
Sokovian instead of being I guess German or German descent because he's the like grandson of
I
Zemo from World War
don't
II.
know if Baron is that way.
Um,
He probably have to be just because of how young he is.
no, he is. It's Helmet. He's the grandson. Yeah.
Was there
Um,
even was the guy in between? Was he ever Baron Zemo?
I don't know.
Did he just
I
like
don't know.
abstain from the family business of being an evil Nazi or Nazi aligned
Yeah.
person?
I don't know. I don't know.
I guess he saw his
Um,
dad's mask get permanently glued to his face. He's like, yeah, I don't really want to. I don't really want that. I
yeah.
don't really want adhesive X permanently attaching.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that it fits the MCU Zemo a little bit better. Because you can kind of think of it like Zemo mind controlling someone
Yeah, well,
and
in the comics,
bringing them under his control.
it's significantly less Thunderbolts and more Hydra.
Yeah,
And Hydra does do brainwashing.
yeah. So I like it. I really do. And I think honestly, if any character was going to do it, I think Baron Zemo is probably the best. Um, because yeah, like maybe a mind control character, but I don't really know if there's a good candidate for that, to
It
be
actually
honest.
is, and she's on screen right now. The Enchantress.
Yes,
She
yes,
is in
that
the
is
game.
true. Yeah, but they already fumbled the bag on that one. So,
Yeah,
you
unfortunately
know,
for her.
yeah, maybe in a parallel universe, but
Wonder if we'll ever get the Executioner.
yeah, who knows? It's possible. Marvel Snap does like their deep cuts.
I
Um,
was gonna say, actually reminds me. I remember when I said a Runaway season would be good, would also be really fun. a Power Pack season.
That would be fun if it was like the original Power Pack and not when they got like a little older.
If it was like yeah the this like the 60s, like the weird, like the art that doesn't look like Marvel Comics art, looks like picture book art from the 70s.
I mean, I was even just talking about like the newer Power Pack comic, but just like before like one of them took the powers of the other three kids.
Yeah, before Prodigy,
Yeah,
before one of the three different heroes named Prodigy.
yeah. So I really like Zemo. I would say Zemo probably goes into Sublime. Um,
I would
you
agree.
know, the art depicted is comic Zemo. He works kind of like comic Zemo, but he also works like MCU Zemo, and I feel like he's pretty probably well rounded in his design. Yeah. All right, let's get one more in here. Our last lick in.
And we have another. I think she's Hydra related. I don't actually remember. I always forget what's actually going on with Typhoid Mary. So Typhoid Mary, she's a 4 cost 10 power. Your other cards here have -2, or is it -1 still?
-2.
-2. She's gone through some revisions. I think she's a Hydra character. I'm pretty sure.
So, I don't think that she has anything to do with Hydra. She's a Deadpool villain. Or not, sorry, not Deadpool. The other red guy. um, a Daredevil villain. So she's just
Oh, she has fought Deadpool and Spider-Man, and she married Wilson Fisk.
yes, she's married to Kingpin.
She's not. She is part of the Hand, though, or at least was.
Yeah. Which would explain why she has a katana. You know. Um, but yeah, she doesn't have like it's kind of interesting. So she uh doesn't have like disease powers like you may expect if you know about the real life Typhoid Mary. Um, she her her abilities is that she has telekinesis. She's a really powerful martial artist. Again, the katana. And she can light things on fire that are nearby her.
Yeah, she also has dissociative identity disorder. No, you may
Yeah,
go.
she
Hey, what
is.
do the aliens have to do with giving other cards location -2 power? That's a good
Well,
question.
yeah, and I mean the thing about it is like, okay, I will say this, right? She has different personalities, and she can light things on fire that are nearby her. And so maybe she's a bit of like a loose cannon, right? Where like sometimes she can hurt more than she can help because her different identities, like some of them are like unstable, and she switches between them. Um, uh, I can justify it. I just did. I don't love it, you know, but I would say for me, that takes this out of F and puts it in D. It's not a a glamorous rise, but it is it saves it from F in my opinion.
Fair. I could agree to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sentry or like Moon Knight, where like other characters are like, yeah, I mean they're really powerful. I don't really want to work with them because they have issues. Like they probably shouldn't be a hero, you know, um,
Yeah.
because they're just like really
Yeah, it's
mentally
like
unstable.
Moon Knight maybe needs therapy. Sentry needs to just stop doing heroic things because the really powerful evil entity that lives inside of him is really powerful and also evil.
Yeah, but but yeah. All right. Well, that is a wrap on yet another Marvel Snap tier list here on Rarefied Air. If you agreed with our rankings, or if you disagreed, or if you have some new perspectives or context to add, maybe some Marvel Comics trivia that even Andrew didn't know, to add to the conversation. We'd love to see it down in the comments. But with that, that's all we have for today, and we'll see you next time.